Sex can be painful emotionally and sometimes physically because of the wounds that has been caused in the past. In your case in particular, for you, there's an issue about sex and a fear surrounding it because you know that if you let go, allow yourself to be a sexual human, in other words, fully sensual, fully feeling, if you allow yourself to enjoy sex with yourself or with another person, that it's going to open something within you, that spiritual and psychic part. As Saint-Germain said in his channel in our last session, at this last doorway of the intuition is guarded by the energies of seduction. Because the seduction will draw you away. The seduction will, in a way, trap you, to keep you from opening into the deepest and most beautiful parts of yourself. So you have chosen to use sex as your issue for not opening up. You've surrounded this topic of sex with fear, and then you pretend to be afraid of it. But you have to remember, you put that issue there for yourself. You're the one that created the sexual blockage. You can make a choice to walk through it, just like you would walk through a cloud. Now, it brings up the fears. You can feel the fear in your body, in your mind. But allow yourself to let go of those issues you have with the sex. To walk through it and to let yourself open up in every way. We're going to ask you in particular to understand the energies of Aliyah. And this can be found, all the details of it, in the Sexual Energies course. You'll come to understand so much more about your fear of sex. You'll come to understand about this thing that we call the sexual energy virus. But in the meantime, you put that issue of sex there as a barrier, as a closed door, discovering more about yourself. Sexual energy virus is essentially an imbalance between masculine and feminine energies. Masculine and feminine energies are perhaps the most focused point of duality. In other words, duality is most easily shown in the masculine-feminine separation, not just in this reality on this planet, but through the cosmos. The energy of physical and psychic abuse is a virus. Nothing more, nothing less. A virus. It is not controlled by anyone. It is not a conspiracy. It is not necessarily even what you would call dark or evil. It is just a virus. Unlike most physical viruses, the sexual abuse virus has the ability to change its shape and its form, has the ability to quickly alter itself so that it cannot be discovered or recognized. One moment, it will come in as hate and anger. And when you get too close to discovering it, it will change itself into temporary love. Sugar love, I call it, because it is not real. It is a mask and a disguise that it wears. This energy, this virus, develops its own type of identity, and it needs to continue to get energy to sustain itself. That's what it is doing. A virus sustains itself, perpetuates itself, reproduces itself. And that is exactly what sexual abused energy does. Once it gets inside of you, now it's got to feed. How does it feed? In the mind. In the mind. It's where it primarily feeds from. And it will start doing things to you so that it can continue its feeding. It will cause you to feel guilty. It will cause you to feel shame, and you won't be able to put your finger on it. You'll try. You'll blame it on one thing or the other. This deep, dark sense of guilt and shame. This virus will come in and work on your mind and your heart. It will tell you that you are not worthy. And you hear that then coming from your brain. You are not worthy. You are a small human. Things you have done, accomplishments that you have made over time. It will tell you they were nothing. There's always someone that does it better. This virus will come in and keep you in a low and dark state of being. When you go on the drugs, the mind-altering drugs, the depression drugs, it really flatlines you. It keeps you from getting back your own self. And it loves that state of being because now you are numb. Now you are not feeling anymore. And it can just continue feeding, chomp, 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 while you stay on those. You know where this virus resides? It plays with your mind. It manipulates your mind, but it resides in your gut. And it resides in your pelvis, in your urinary tract, and in your bowels. And it will get you to be a liar. It will get you to lying not only to yourself, but to other people as a way not to be discovered. It turns you into a wonderful liar, having you lie about things in your life, about who you are and what you're trying to do. Because the lie is an illusion. It's not reality. It's not truth. And the virus loves anything but the truth. It will cause you to feel that you're a victim and get you to stay in that victim energy. And then your life becomes one of continual victimness, moving from one situation to the other, a victim in a relationship, a victim in love, a victim just in circumstances in the world. You're the one who is always in the wrong place at the wrong time. If you're a victim, you are an abuser. You can't have one without the other. The victim can do it by always sucking energy from other people in the room with their poor me. That is abuse. The victim is the greatest manipulator in the world. You've learned how to manipulate. You had to. You had to steal energy to feed the virus. You're like a junkie. You had to go out and get it. It's not that you're bad. You just had to get it. So you turn into a manipulator. If you're feeling this fogginess about things, confusion about things, the moment you try to start dealing with it mentally, or even going to counseling, even going through processing, it just gets foggier and more confusing until the point you want to scream. You can't stand it anymore. And then the virus will give you a little reprieve, a little bit, give you a relationship for a short period of time, perhaps. Or give you back a glow of health for a short period. It doesn't want you to leave. It needs you. It needs to feed off of you. And that is the nature. Those are the symptoms of sexual energy abuse. And you probably have it. Abused energies are not just physical. They are mental and emotional. Some of you may not have been physically abused as children, at least from a sexual standpoint. All of you have been emotionally abused in one form or the other. The abuse can take place in non-sexual ways, but yet it is still a sexual energy at its core. You may have been beaten or whipped as a child, And while you think that is an expression of anger from a parent, it is also sexual energy, as you will discover later in this workshop. Some of you were criticized. You were told that you were worthless, told that you weren't wanted, you were a mistake. That is abused sexual energy, and will have an effect on your joy, your ability to have a joyful life. It will also have an influence on your physical sex life. But we want everybody to make sure to understand that sexual abuse can come in many, many different ways. You'd love to blame it on the parents or the teachers or even a past life or any of those things. And the difficult thing about this sexual virus is that it isn't just from one other person. It isn't just from their background or from a past life. It is just a virus. Abuse sexual energy will take the joy out of your life. And then you have to start lying to yourself. You have to start trying to find false joy, temporary joy. You have to lie to yourself and pretend that certain things bring you joy. And sometimes those things that you were trying to use to bring you joy actually bring you more hardship because they are covering up the pain. Drugs, alcohol, inappropriate sexual behavior, going into a type of denial. These all take the joy out of your life. Then you become searchers of joy, seekers of joy. You try to find joy in nearly anything, in words or in books, in activities. But as you have found out, so many of these things are very temporary. They're superficial. Somewhere deep within you is a remembrance of pure joy, of ecstasy. Some of you would call it peacefulness, serenity. There is the ability, this simple ability, to return to this place of joy. And through the process that we are laying out in this workshop and in some of the materials we will discuss with you later, you're going to discover a very, very simple way. It's been hidden, it's been covered up, and it's been tarnished, but it is there. Now we're going to ask all of you not to try to get ahead, not to try to jump out and figure out the conclusion to this, or even if others might have told you a bit about it, not to try to think that you know it all. There is a process that unfolds here, carefully guided by angelic entities and by humans. And as we deliberately go through each one of these processes, it allows us to eventually get back to this simple place of joy, of bringing back your entire self, of ending this virus within you. It would be appropriate for all of Shambhala to participate in this, to understand how energy abuse takes place and how an end can be put to it. When there are enough humans who choose not to be part of this energy virus and this energy abuse, it will have a potential to change consciousness and shift all of humanity who chooses to get out of this. Sex was designed to be one of the greatest joys and the greatest therapeutic tools for humans. So where would this virus want to go? Straight to sex. It is really in itself not a sexual virus. It is a consciousness virus. It is a virus that began with the energies of masculine and feminine imbalance. But here on earth, it finds its way especially into sex. It makes it so that it's difficult to enjoy sex with another person. The virus has gotten in and made sex perverted, filled with guilt and shame. This virus is even responsible for things that cause a biological virus called HIV. HIV is the manifestation of this virus into the human body because of issues of shame and guilt. And the issues of shame and guilt into those who contract HIV are not always just their issue. Sometimes those who carry HIV are doing it on behalf of all of society and all of the issues of sex. The virus has gotten in and destroyed something very, very beautiful, the ability for people to make love. Has gotten in and distorted and perverted this. Has created things like pornography. Pornography, take a look at just the energy behind that. Even into those who allow themselves to be photographed or videoed in pornographic situations. What happens is not only are they part of an energy stealing as a result of this virus, but their energies are stolen. The porn stars who are working with a very false energy, stealing energy from those who are viewing the materials and sinking their energies into the materials, tend to have very, very short lives because their energy is being stolen right back. Let's say someone appears in a pornographic video. Now you take a look at how this is distributed all over. Many humans watching this video. And there's a perversion of a pure love and a pure energy. This virus goes in and distorts all of the energies. So those who are part of the pornographic movie, they're getting their energy stolen back. They're getting the life force energy sucked right out of their bodies. And there's a very strong imprint because, in a sense, those who are viewing the materials burn it into their mind and into their body and into their soul. And they are stealing energy from those who are performing in the videos. It is a very, very difficult and dark energy. Those who appear in these type of videos and magazines and other media tend to get very caught up in its energies. They tend to become addicted to drugs and alcohol because they're in a living hell. They don't understand why their energy is being sucked out of them all of the time. It is a sad situation. There's no judgment on our part about those who perform in these, or even about the readers, but look at the energy and ask, is this appropriate? Is there something else going on? Is this virus infecting those who are part of it? Churches have their own form of energy virus, and that virus keeps them from wanting others to have liberation. Who is it that puts the judgment and the darkness on sex? It's the churches. Who are the ones that say that God says that sex is only for having children? Now, why would God say that? Doesn't even make sense. The churches have a vested interest in maintaining this energy. The churches are being worked by this very energy of sexual virus. Even though they deny it, well, the evidence is apparent to all of us. Look at what they've been going through. You can't hide this abuse virus. It can get into an organization just like it can get into an individual, and it shows itself. An organization such as a church will have to do its own feeding. If there are priests who have this virus within them, they have to feed from somewhere. Well, they've been taught that sex with a woman is bad. It is against what they have taken an oath for. So what do? They go to the boys instead, or more commonly, but not talked about, between themselves. It is inappropriate, even the sex that they have between themselves, because there is so much guilt and shame, and they think they shouldn't be doing it. So it becomes perverted and distorted rather than a thing of sharing and beauty. And this is how the sexual energy virus works. It gets into things, and then it lies, and it manipulates, and it does anything it can to continue its existence. We know this is somewhat difficult information to go through. And we know that there's a sense of feeling that you're out of control, that this thing might have you. And in a sense, it does. But there is a solution.